Hi, this is for my biology project, and the process of photosynthesis, and it takes place in the chlorophyll and of the chloroplast, and of the reactants and are sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide. Um 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 and that speaking is so hard, and then it produces glucose and oxygen, and it requires um, oxygen, water, sunlight, and soil to function. And the process of cellular respiration, and it takes place in the mitochondria, and the reactants and are glucose, ATP, glucose is pretty confusing, and the reactants and are glucose, ATP, and why the hell is it so freaking hard to speak? And the reactants are glucose, ATP, and 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 yeah, glucose, ATP, and NAD plus, and are the reactants, and if it produces more ATP and water, and if this does not require oxygen to function. Um, 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 and cellular respiration, and is speaking is so freaking hard right now. And cellular respiration, and the fact is the backup energy and for usage, and when a limb and runs out of glucose, and then it's essential and for exercising, and these processes basically run life. Another page. Hey, time to take a little look-see over here at our piece of paper and the photosynthesis, and it takes place in why is being so freaking hard now? And photosynthesis, and it takes place in vegetation, I guess inside the chlorophyll and of the chloroplast. And why the hell can I not speak? And then it makes oxygen and glucose, and the cellular. What is the problem with my speaking abilities? And cellular respiration, and it takes place in animals. Okay, 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 okay. Yep, and then it is in the mitochondria, and where that occurs, and photosynthesis, and the reactants, and are sunlight, CO2, H2O, and also turns into O2 and glucose. So that is pretty cool. And that is pretty cool. And sunlight, and it turns into glucose, and that turns into ATP. And the decellular respiration reactants are 6H, H12, 6O2, and 6CO2, 6H2O, and ATP. I am an idiot. And okay. What else being so freaking hard right now? And C6, H12. Okay. 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 And C6, H12, and 6O2, and RV reactants of cell it benefits the reactants of cellular respiration, and the products are 6CO2, 6H2O, and ATP. And the fate of glucose and Yahoo! Speaking is so hard, and the speaking is so freaking hard right now, and the fate of glucose and is. What is your problem? Mouth and tongue, and mouth, tongue. Learn how to speak fluently in English. Pretty heckin' simple. Okay. Let's just see over here, and the fate of glucose and. Why the hell is it so freaking hard to speak? And the fate of glucose and is. Oh my freaking gosh, man! And the fate of glucose and. The glucose is a fate and a. The fate of glucose and is. The White House is so freaking hard, and just glucose, and it turns into a starch and cellulose, and for energy storage, and that is its fate. Okay, I finally said it. Thank God. ATP, and that is equals. I said both of the words. I'm only supposed to say is. But I am a fucking idiot. Okay. And the ATP, and it turns into a usable energy, and water is needed for survival of basically everything. I look like a fucking idiot. Okay. Right. Energy in photosynthesis. CO2. And okay, for now I just went freaking blank. And CO2 and a chemical and that plants and breathe in. CO2 and is a chemical and that animals breathe out and plants breathe in. And I just went that fucking backwards like a dinkus. Okay. Oxygen. And oxygen and is a product of photosynthesis. Oxygen and is a product of photosynthesis, and that is needed for survival. And glucose, I guess that is used for energy storage in the form of starch and cellulose. Whoa. That's so cool. Why am I acting like a fucking retard right now? Okay. I think I might actually have an idea, and because I am partially, high functioning autistic, but whatever. And let's see here. Yay! And the Krebs cycle, and that is a. What the fuck did I just? Jeepers freaking cripes! And the Krebs cycle, and Krebs cycle, and it is a chain of reactions, and that occurs in the mitochondria, and which. What the heck did I just write? Yeah, very, very freaking confusing. And which most living cells and to make energy, I guess, and anaerobic respiration. Wow, that is so cool. Okay. glycolysis. And let's see over here. And the glycolysis, and that is something, and that speaking so hard, and the glycolysis, and that speaking is so freaking hard, and the glycolysis, and that partially breaks down glucose, and um 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 and then it gets partially broke down and by cells and and of now that is an enzyme reactions and that do not require oxygen. So that's cool. I am a dinkus. Let's continue. Okay. Letter I. Wait, I might have that. And I just started doing that out of absolutely nowhere. Oh, but anyways, and if that does not matter, and if the electron transport chain, and if that transfers and energy and that's being so hard, and the electron transfer. Speaking is so freaking hard right now, and yeah, electron transfers. Why the heck do I just be speaking in gibberish? And electron transport chains and those and those transfer energy and from electrons into more ATP. Forever. Okay. Ooh. And we have a little what? How did they? Letter. Letter J, and which is the Calvin cycle, and twist for now, and then Calvin cycle, and that turns and from carbon cycle, and it turns it into sugars like glucose. So that's cool. End up being a frickin' retard. Okay. Okay. I am so heckin' confused right here, and okay then, well, and we have the letter K, and with light reactions, and the first stage of photosynthesis, and with solar energy, and it basic terms, and the first stage of photosynthesis, and the solar energy, and is made into ATP and NADF. Or actually, like, and NADPH, more accurately. Okay, next, continue, and letter I, which is the chloroplast, and plant cell organelle, and that converts sunlight and into glucose via photosynthesis. Whoa. This is sad. 50. Well, jeepers frickin' cripes. Okay. and the letter M, and that is the mitochondrion, and found in most cells, and which, why is speaking so hard, and found in most cells, and which, the, biochemical processes, and of respiration and energy production occur. Wrong piece of paper. Right piece of paper. Only a couple more. Letter N. Intriguing. And these are electron carriers and small organic molecules, and that play key roles and in cellular respiration. Respiration, that means. Translation from Brian Retard. What the hell do I keep on saying that? Let's see. Let's see. See, and we have the letter O, and which is thylakoids, and the connected sacs and very intriguing, and if they are connected sacs and of the internal membrane system of the chloroplast, and now that is cool. Why the hell am I so fix okay. Yep, and then Yep, and the case of now, and let's get to reading. And we have the letter P, and if that is stroma, and cells and tissues, and if that support and give structure and to organs, glands, or other tissues in the body. And that's what they do. Google is confusing and not very clear sometimes, but also most times they are pretty clear. So, cool. Yeah, and here's our last one, and we have the letter Q, and which is chlorophyll. Speaking so freaking hard right now, and we have a letter Q, and which is chlorophyll, and that is a pigment and a present. I guess that those are present, and in all green plants and some other organisms. Let's get this uploaded.